Welcome into the Recruiting Roundup brought to you by IBEW Local 640. I'm Claudia Collins, and joining me is Brandon Huffman. He is the National Recruiting Editor for 247Sports, and he's joining me to break down a few positions from the 2023 class. But I want to start with this before we get into those positions. How do you think this 23 class stacks up against the class of 2022?
Well, I think if you look at this class, just from a national scale, from a regional scale, this class is much more remarkable. There's elite quarterbacks in this class nationally. There's elite players at a number of positions. I also think part of it's a byproduct of the 2023 class is the first class, probably since the 2020 class, to kind of have things return to normal, whether that's a spring evaluation period, whether that's the summer camps, whatever it may be. You're seeing a lot more talent in these classes because there's frankly just been more ability for them to go to events to showcase themselves.
Let's get into some Arizona talent. I'm going to start with quarterbacks. Arizona's kind of known for breeding quarterbacks, but who kind of stands out to you from the class of 2023?
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting cycle in terms of the quarterback position in the state of Arizona because, last year, the last couple of years, you've had guys like Spencer Rattler, you've had guys like Devon Brown, even though he moved on to Utah. Next year, you've got Devon Williams, but this year there isn't necessarily the high-profile quarterback like there has been in previous classes, but that doesn't mean that there's not some good quarterbacks. And one of those players is Devon Dampier out of Saguaro High School. Helped him win a state championship this year. He's a top 25 player in the state of Arizona. Maybe doesn't have the recruiting that, Devon Williams does in the 24 class or that Devon Brown or even Spencer Rattler did. But he's a player that I anticipate in the spring will end up having more eyeballs. Now, when I mentioned earlier that the quarterback position on a national scale was much improved, the top three players in the country are all quarterbacks. The hard part is that there's so many schools that are in the midst for the two of the three remaining quarterbacks. Malachi Nelson's already committed, but with Nico Iamaleava out of Southern California and Arch Manning from the famed Manning family, both still available, plus Dante Moore, another five-star in the top 10. There's a lot of schools that are waiting to make that next move with quarterbacks after those three make a decision. So that's where a player like Dampier is really going to use the spring to his advantage. Jason Mons does a phenomenal job of bringing college coaches to campus in the month of April and in May. And I expect Dampier will be the guy that really sees his stock rise. They got a little bit of a blow when CJ Tiller out of Williams Field and Gilbert moved back to Southern California, where he was originally from, because he was another quarterback in Arizona that was getting some attention. But right now, I think Dampier is becoming that quarterback that really could use the spring to see his recruitment springboard to kind of that next tier.
Well, Brandon, thanks so much for joining me to chat about the QB landscape in the class of 2023. We'll continue the conversation next time by breaking down the defensive line position.